Module number 2, the artist's body, your physical wellness and creativity. Your body is the vessel through which creativity flows. A well-nourished, well-cared for body is your ultimate tool for creative expression. Take a moment to think about that. Everything that you create starts as a thought in your mind, but then it flows through your physical body to become reality. Your body is your ultimate tool for creative expression. So move daily, whether it's through yoga, walking, stretching, or any movement that connects you with your body. Stay connected. Your body is part of your creative experience. Move it and connect to it. Prioritize your rest and your recovery. Quality sleep is essential for creativity and innovation. And as we said in the previous module, you're not a machine. You are not functioning on autopilot. You're not a robot. You're a human being with basic human needs. And rest and recovery is one of the most important things for a healthy, functioning, and creative body. Nourish yourself with whole, vibrant foods. Prioritize protein, supplement vitamins and minerals as required, and stay hydrated. Limit or eliminate drugs and alcohol. Take care of your physical body. You're a human being, and your physical body has basic needs. Look after yourself. Listen to your body. Honor its rhythms and intuitively work with your natural energy cycles. As a woman, monitor your menstrual cycle and flow with your feelings and energy levels as they fluctuate. As we approach middle age and beyond, understand perimenopause and menopause and how this will affect your physical and mental well-being. So, talking about your cycle as a woman, it's really interesting to think that a woman's hormone cycle is a 28-day cycle. It's the same cycle as the moon, whereas a man's hormone cycle is 24 hours. It's one day, like the sun. So, as women, we are very, very different in our physical bodies than men, and our cycle follows the moon, whereas a male cycle, which is 24 hours, follows the sun. We are not small men. We are women. We are completely different in all of the ways. So, really learn to lean into that cycle and educate yourself as much as you possibly can about your hormones at every stage of your life. And love yourself. Indulge in self-care. Self-care is not selfish, and taking care of your physical body is one of the best things that you can do, not just for yourself, but for your creativity. Your physical body is your ultimate tool for creative expression. And if you want to be the artist of your life and curate a life that is a work of art, take care of your body, and it will perform creatively for you. Your body is a creative tool. The way we move, feed, and care for our bodies directly impacts our creative expression. Physical wellness supports creative wellness, so prioritize curating a lifestyle that nurtures both. You want to have physical well-being, and that is also going to attribute to your creative well-being. Your body is your creative instrument. Just as an artist takes care of their paintbrushes by cleaning them, storing them, and maintaining them to ensure that they perform at their best, you must see your body as your ultimate creative tool that you want to perform at its best as well. The more you care for your physical body, the more you nurture it and you stay in tune with its needs. Don't forget, you're a human being with needs. You need to take care of them. The better your creative output is going to be. The body is your vessel through which your creativity flows. You only have one body. Your body is your ultimate creative tool. So please take care of it. It is so, so, so important. Your embodiment and your energy and why your body is part of the process. Creativity is a full body or somatic experience. Whether painting, writing, sculpting, or performing, the way we move and carry ourselves influences our ability to create. And embodiment is about being fully present in your body, understanding its signals and using its energy as a guide. And so let's think about the connection between embodiment, intuition, and creativity. Our bodies store emotions, memories, and energy that influence our creative expression. Our creative expression is unique to us and unique to our experience. And of course, it's going to be unique to our emotions, our memories, and our energy. It's all stored in the physical body. So when we're disconnected from our physical selves, our creativity can feel forced or blocked. Intuition is a vital part of the creative process. It's that inner knowing that guides artistic choices and decisions. By tuning into your body's subtle signals, we strengthen our intuitive ability and deepen our creative practice. Your body is such an important part of your creativity. Your nervous system, your stress, and creative flow. So the nervous system regulates our stress levels, which in turn affect our ability to create freely. Stress destroys creativity. Like, take a moment to think about that. If there's been points in your life where you've been super stressed out about things, I guarantee that that has not been your best creative moment. Stress destroys creativity, whilst relaxation encourages it. Mindful breathing, checking in with yourself, taking care of your basic needs, and reducing or eliminating stress are vital for your creative well-being. And a suggested reading on this topic that I recommend for everybody is a book called The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. It's an incredible read, and it's really good. I just kind of touched on this here. And again, I want to reiterate throughout this course, I'm going to give you guidance on a lot of things that have helped me in my creative life, but there's so much information. I'm just going to touch on it. And I really encourage you to get into what I call like self-study or self-deep dives. And this is like one example of that. The nervous system, your stress, creative flow, and the concept of your body keeping the score. This isn't something I made up. This is like scientific and this is factual information that's out there. And there's wonderful books on this topic. And this one is a really good example of that. The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. You've probably heard of it. You may have already read it. But it's really, really important as it relates to this aspect of the physical body and creative well-being. Then we move on to the impact of our posture and breathing on creative energy. Open postures and deep breathing enhance oxygen flow to the brain, boosting focus and creativity. Slouched postures and shallow breathing can lead to mental fatigue and reduced inspiration. I'm sure if you've ever had to sit at a desk at any point in your life, you understand that that stagnant posture, that slouching, that lack of movement, it's not great for your overall well-being. It's not good for your physical body, and it is certainly not good for your creativity. So pay attention to how you're sitting. If you're slouching, if you need to, adjust, if you need to go for a walk, check in with your human body, your physical self, and make any adjustments that you might need for your creative well-being. Recognizing our place in nature. We are a part of nature. All of nature moves through cycles and seasons, and as creative beings, we are no different. By observing the world around us, the shifting of the seasons, the phases of the moon, the ebb and flow of the tides, we can gain deeper insight into our own creative cycles and work in harmony with them. This is also a very Taoist principle that we're going to dive into in the Taoist section of this course. And also being part of the natural world, being a human being, as I said, we're in cycles, so is the natural world. So really being in tune with your body and how it cycles, just as nature cycles, how it ebbs and flows, just as the tides do. We can really gain insight into our creative selves and our cycles by noticing what's happening within us and what's happening in the natural world around us. It's incredible how connected we are to nature. We are part of nature. I also encourage you to strengthen your intuition. Your body communicates through sensations, gut feelings, and physical responses. That's your intuition. Learn to tune into it and listen to these cues. Your creativity and high sensitivity. Many creatives are highly sensitive people. You may have heard this be referred to as an HSP, meaning they process sensory information more deeply. This heightened awareness can be a gift, providing richer emotional depth and attunement to subtleties. However, it also means that overstimulation can be draining. Learn to regulate sensory input. This is really, really important for a lot of creative people. I identify as highly sensitive, and I read an incredible book that I encourage you to read if this sounds like something that resonates with you. It's called The Highly Sensitive Person by Elaine N. Aron. And then let's look at our physiology and creative energy. Strength, endurance, and flexibility contribute to physical wellness and creative sustainability. This is especially true if you're creating large scale work, climbing ladders or scaffolding, balancing, carrying heavy materials, or standing, bending, or kneeling for extended periods of time. Ask any muralist, and I am one of them. The act of creation can be extremely intense physical labor. Your body is part of the creative process. And if you're a muralist or you've ever worked on a large scale piece of work, you understand this. Take care of your physical body. It's so important for your creative practice. Speaking about our physical bodies and our well-beings, let's talk about alcohol. So, alcohol is widely accepted in mainstream culture and adult life, but the truth is, it's a toxin. It's a central nervous system depressant that impairs brain function, disrupts hormonal balance, inflames the gut, and weakens the immune system. It interferes with your sleep cycle, it increases anxiety and depression, and it can lead to long-term cognitive decline. It's been linked to increased risks of high blood pressure, liver disease, cancer, and cardiovascular issues. Alcohol causes imbalance, dulling emotional sensitivity, clouding your intuition, and creating false highs and followed by depletion. For creatives, this means disruptive focus, diminished flow, and a weakened connection to your authenticity. Becoming conscious of alcohol's role in your life is a powerful step towards choosing clarity, vitality, and alignment with the life that you want to create. And I put this in here not because I'm looking to judge or convert you, but from my lived experience, quitting alcohol was the best decision I've ever made. Everything in my life became clearer and better because of this decision. In the beginning, it helped me to have someone in my life who wasn't drinking, because having a like-minded companion made it easier to navigate social situations where alcohol is so omnipresent. When I removed alcohol and alcoholics from my life, I saw how much chaos I had normalized. I had to walk away from people I love because their addictions were toxic to my well-being. That was hard, but it was necessary. Alcoholism affects relationships, it creates chaos, it creates instability, it creates emotional volatility, and in many cases, intergenerational trauma. If, like me, you grew up in or are surrounded by alcohol-fueled dynamics, it's important to recognize how these patterns might still be shaping your sense of safety. And remember, we touched on that in the pyramid in the mind module. It's one of, safety is a basic human need, and alcohol and alcoholism is a very, very strong deterrent to any form of safety. So really, really pay attention to that, your stability and your self-worth. If clarity, peace, and creativity are what you're calling in, pay attention to what's in your cup. Like I said, I'm not here to convert you. I'm not here to judge you, but quitting drinking was the best thing I ever did. Everything in my life got better after I did it, including my creativity. So if you are in any way, like even just a little curious about what that might look like, I 100% encourage you to do it, not just for your creativity, but for your overall physical well-being. And that's what this module is all about. So visualize and affirm. My body is my ultimate creative tool. Your body is part of your creative process. Your body is the way that you communicate your creativity from, what starts in your mind as a thought and comes through you as creative expression. So take care of your body because it is your ultimate creative tool. Don't forget it. Now let's look at the Tao of creative energy and the balance of yin and yang. Let's get into a little bit of Taoism. In Taoist philosophy, yin and yang represent the natural balance of opposing but complementary energies, rest and action, dark and light, male and female. These energies exist not only in nature, but within us as well. Learning to recognize whether you are in a yin or a yang state allows you to align yourself and your creativity with your natural energy flow. So let's look at the yin, which is the feminine. This represents slowing down, introspection, and stillness. It's associated with darkness, the moon, and as I said earlier, a woman's hormonal cycle is a 28-day cycle, just like the moon, night, and coolness, emotional depth, intuition, and inner awareness, a slower, more internal energy. Those are very yin qualities. Then on the opposite, let's look at yang, which is very masculine. That represents action, expression, and outward movement. It's associated with light, the sun, which is a 24-hour cycle, just like a male hormone cycle, day, and warmth, productivity, achievement, and creation, and a fast-paced external energy. So you have yin and you have yang, and that's what makes up the yin and yang symbol that we find in Taoism. The Tao of creative energy, which is the flow of Wu Wei. There's another essential Taoist principle that beautifully supports this balance. It's called Wu Wei, which is often translated as effortless action or going with the flow. Wu Wei teaches us to move in harmony with life rather than forcefully resisting or controlling with it. While this concept leans more towards yin energy, it's not about sitting around doing nothing. It's about allowing things to unfold naturally and trusting that when the time for action comes, it will emerge effortlessly. By incorporating Wu Wei into your wellness practice, you can honor your current state, whether yin or yang, and curate a creative life that feels fluid, sustainable, and authentically aligned. So let's do a self-check-in because creativity is not just an intellectual practice. It is a somatic experience. So it's not just in the brain, not just in the mind. It's somatic. It's in the physical body. It's a state of embodiment where mind, body, and soul align. Creating is about being in a state where energy moves freely. Before diving into a creative session, take a moment to check in with the energy levels within your physical body and feel into your creative state. Understanding whether you are in a yin or a yang state can help align you with your natural flow. So how do you do this? Slow down and breathe. And remember earlier, we touched on the fact that breathing is a great way to connect with the present moment. So slow down, be present, and take a few deep breaths. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and take 3 deep breaths, inhaling through your nose and exhaling for a longer count through your mouth. Feel the weight of your body. Feel the temperature of the air. Feel the rhythm of your breath. Let go of mental chatter and simply observe. Slow down and breathe. And then when you're in this state, scan your body. Bring your awareness from your head down to your toe. Notice any tension. Are your muscles relaxed or are they engaged? Do you feel an urge to move or do you crave stillness? Feel and observe your energy. Are you feeling charged and expressive or slow and introspective? Slow down and breathe. Scan your physical body. Then observe your emotional and creative sensations. Do I feel expansive? Do I feel like I want to create? Do I feel like I want to take action? Do I feel expressive? That's a very yang state. Or do I feel reflective, intuitive, drawn to dreaming or researching or absorbing inspiration? That is a very yin creative state. There's no right or wrong here. Both states are essential for your creativity, but by honoring where you are in the moment, you can flow with your natural rhythm rather than forcing it. And this is one of the foundational teachings of Taoism. We want to be in flow. We don't want to force. And when we check in with our physical body, we know where we're at physically, if we're in a more of a yin or more of a yang state, then we can naturally flow with that rather than trying to force it to be something that it is not. We need to honor where we are in the moment and flow with our natural rhythm rather than forcing it. We want to flow and not force. We want to feel and create from an embodied, aligned place. If you want to learn more about Taoism, obviously we're going to get into it a lot more throughout this course, but there's a really great book that I recommend you read. It's called The Tao of Health, Sex and Longevity, and it's by Daniel Reed. So when you're in a yin state, you might feel more introspective or introverted. You might feel emotionally deep or reflective. You might feel physically tired or in need of rest. You might be drawn to journaling or quiet creative practices. And you might be more aligned with Wu Wei, which is allowing rather than forcing. Wu Wei in yin teaches us that doing nothing is sometimes the most productive thing that we can do. Instead of forcing ourselves into action, we allow our creativity, our emotions, and our energy to flow naturally. This can look like journaling and reflection, which is writing freely without trying to structure ideas or force conclusions. We could be doing a mindful art practice, such as just, creating without expectation, creating simply for the joy of the process. We could dive into some meditation or breath work, which is sitting in stillness, breathing deeply, and allowing insight to arise naturally. We might just indulge in some deep rest and restoration. We can sleep, we can nap, or simply lay in nature, allowing ourselves to fully be and not do, because this is a basic human need. Resting and restoring is something that every human needs. It's nothing to feel guilty about, which in this hyper modern world that we live in, we're often in hustle culture where we're taught to do, and that if we take a rest that we're lazy. This is absolutely not true. Your body needs rest, your body needs restoration, and you are a human being, not a human doing. So the yin is all about the feminine. It's darkness, the moon, the night, coolness, emotional depth, intuition, and inner awareness. It is a slower, more internal energy. Then we look at yang on the opposite end of the spectrum. When you're in a yang state, you might feel energized and ready to take action. You might feel outgoing, confident, or social. You might feel physically strong and capable, motivated to create, to build, to perform, and less drawn to reflection and more focused on execution. Wu Wei in Yang teaches us to act in alignment with the natural momentum of life by taking inspired action without resistance. It's about trusting that when the timing is right, action will feel natural. It will feel effortless. It won't be forced. Action-based creativity is engaging in projects that feel exciting and effortless rather than ones that feel forced. A very yang thing to do is physical movement or spontaneous creation, which is creating when inspiration strikes instead of sticking to a schedule. It's also going with the flow and saying yes to opportunities that feel aligned, while also knowing when to say no if something feels off. So if you're yang or in more of a masculine state, it's the light, the sun, day, warmth, productivity, achievement, and creation in a fast-paced external energy. Now let's look at taking a walk in nature for our physical well-being. Walking is one of the most basic actions we can make as human beings. It is a natural movement, it is ingrained in our biology, and it is one of the simplest, yet most effective ways to maintain our physical well-being. Unlike intense exercise routines that can sometimes feel like a chore, walking is an intuitive and sustainable practice that can be done seamlessly and integrated into our daily life. Prioritize movement through walking by aiming for at least 10,000 steps per day. It's such a simple yet effective way to keep your body active, maintain your mobility, and support your overall health. A walk in nature offers more than just the physical benefits. Not only do you engage your body in movement, but you also immerse yourself in the peaceful and creative energy of the natural world. Moving outside connects you to something much greater than yourself. Walking in nature is an opportunity to engage in a walking meditation, where the simple act of placing one foot in front of the other becomes a practice of mindfulness and presence. So, this is an invitation to slow down and fully engage with your surroundings when you go for a walk. Notice the texture of the earth beneath your feet. Walk barefoot. The way the wind moves through the trees, the subtle shifts in the light, and the rhythm of your own breath as you move. This is really a life is art practice. Walk in nature, notice the natural world, engage all of your senses, look at everything around you as an incredible and miraculous creation of life. Life truly is art when you are affirming this to yourself and you're walking in the natural world. It's such a beautiful thing to do. And think of that term creator that's used to describe any god. Mother Nature is the greatest artist, and the more you immerse yourself in her creation, the more you begin to see the world through an artist's lens. You start to see life as art and art as life. The natural world is a living masterpiece, and it's an endless source of inspiration filled with organic color palettes, tactile textures, intricate shapes, and dynamic forms. And when you walk with awareness, nature reveals itself to you in ways that are impossible to perceive when you are caught up in the distractions of hustle culture and digital living and modern daily life. Disconnect from all of that. Go for a walk in nature for your physical well-being and for your creative inspiration. Be mindfully present, slow down, and take time to observe the golden hues of sunlight filtering through the leaves, the delicate pattern of a shell, the blues of the ocean's shifting surface, or the raw beauty of a weathered wood and stone. Just take time out to observe what is unfolding around you and notice that life really is art. Walking in nature is a moving meditation. Nature does not force, it flows. Nature is very Tao. As artists and creators, we often feel pressure to force inspiration or productivity. But true creativity, like nature, emerges naturally when we allow ourselves to be present and open in the world around us. Additionally, walking in nature allows us to attune ourselves to the natural cycles and seasons. Just as the earth moves through cycles of growth, rest, death, and renewal, we too experience energetic shifts in our own lives. Human beings are part of nature, we are part of the natural world, and we have our own cycles, just like the natural world does. Spring is a time of new beginnings. Summer is a season of abundance and action. Autumn or fall is for reflection and harvest, and winter invites rest and deep introspection. So take a moment to check in with your energy levels because they are always in a cycle, they're never static, and see how it relates to the seasons of nature. Take a moment to do that right now. Be here and now, take a breath, be present, and check in with yourself. Am I feeling like it's springtime? More like a summertime? Is it more like autumn or fall? Or is it winter? Check in with yourself and see where you're at on that spectrum. By immersing ourselves in nature, we are reminded that everything, including ourselves, moves in cycles. Some days we're in full bloom, bursting with ideas and energy, and other days call for stillness, rest, and integration. When we honor these cycles instead of resisting them, we find more ease, creativity, and balance in our lives. And we check in with ourselves as human beings, and we have cycles. Robots and machines and things on autopilot do not, but we are none of those things. We are human beings. Our energy levels are in cycles. Things ebb and flow, just like in nature. Some days we're feeling very, very energetic. Other days we're not. Everything is cyclical. Everything is constantly moving, and that is part of being human. So honor those cycles and honor where you are at. You are not a machine. You are a human being. So, as a woman, as I mentioned, one of the most significant cycles for us in nature is the moon. The moon cycle is one of the most powerful natural rhythms, influencing everything from the tides in the ocean and ecosystems to human emotions, sleep, and creativity. The moon's phases are driven by its relationship with the sun and the earth, and they create a cyclical pattern of energy shifts. These phases affect water, which is why we see their direct impact on the ocean tides. And I want you to think about this. Since the human body is about 60% water, it's no surprise that we feel it too. So think about the power of the moon and how it can affect the tide of the entire ocean. And we're 60% water. So if the moon has the ability to affect the entire ocean, imagine what an effect it has on us if we are 60% water. Scientists estimate that the moon is around 4.5 billion years old, and the oldest recorded human lunar calendars date back at least 35,000 years. So human beings have always had a very strong connection to the moon. Ancient civilizations, including Babylonians, Egyptians, the Maya, and the Inca, had advanced lunar calendars, and the Chinese lunar calendar, which was 2000 BCE, is still in use today. The fact that we still look to the moon for guidance in wellness, creativity, and spirituality shows how ingrained this connection is in human consciousness. And if you're not familiar with the moon cycle, I really recommend that you track it as part of your journaling practice. You can download apps online to do that, or you can just stick your head out at night and see where the moon is at in its cycle. And I've created a diagram here for you that you can refer to. You start with the new moon, which is when the moon, you don't see it in the night sky. It's very dark. Then we move to a waxing crescent, the first quarter, a waxing gibbous, and then a full moon when the light is the most in the night sky. Then it wanes, goes back down the cycle. A waning gibbous, the last quarter, a waning crescent, and then back to the new moon. The moon is a cycle like everything else in nature. So here I break down how each of these cycles or the moon stages affects us as humans and affects us creatively. So we start with the new moon. And the new moon is all about beginnings and setting intentions. In the natural world, it's associated with a low tide, quiet energy, and darkness. Many animals rest and plants slow their growth. From humans, we can also notice in our physical bodies we might have lower energy. We might feel more introspective. It's a natural time for setting intentions and planting seeds, and this can be mentally, emotionally, and creativity. New moons are great for setting intentions. And for your creative wellness, this is a really good time for journaling, brainstorming, and quiet reflection. It's also ideal for starting new creative projects because it's a new moon. It's a great time to start. Then we move to the waxing crescent, which is all about building and growth. In the natural world, we notice rising tides, increasing energy in plants and animals. And in humans, we also notice a gradual rise in our energy, our motivation, and our focus. For our creative wellness, it's a really good time to take action on ideas, to do research, and to gather materials for creative projects. So you can see here the cycle is moving upwards. We start with the new and then we build. Then we move to the first quarter. In the natural world, we see higher tides, stronger ocean currents, and animals become more active. For humans, our energy increases, but challenges or obstacles may also arise. This is a time of problem solving and perseverance. And for creative wellness, we push through resistance, we refine our ideas, and we start actively creating. Then we move to the waxing gibbous stage, which is finalization and refinement. In the natural world, ocean tides are at their peak and nature is in full action. Humans have high energy, they're driven to complete tasks, but it is also possible that during this time of the cycle, we're going to face some overwhelm or some restlessness. For creative wellness, it's a good time to finish up some work, to edit, or to refine your creative projects. Then we move to the full moon. In the natural world, that's when the tides are at their strongest. Animals are the most active. For example, wolves howl and nocturnal animals hunt. For humans, we have high emotions. We may suffer insomnia. We may have vivid dreams, creative bursts, or emotional intensity. Many people feel restless or overstimulated. So check in with yourself as we're moving through each of these cycles and note how you feel around these cycles of the moon. The one that the most people notice, even if they're not totally conscious of the moon cycle, is the insomnia around a full moon. For creative wellness, the full moon is a great time for showcasing your work, for performing or sharing your creativity. You channel your creativity into art, movement, or journaling. This is your time to shine, literally, while the moon is full and shining. So after the moon is full, what happens? The cycle downturns and we go to a waning gibbous moon, which is harvest and reflection. In the natural world, the tides begin to lower, the energy softens, and many animals slow down. In humans, we notice a natural winding down phase. It's time to reflect, harvest, and release excess energy. For our creative wellness, it's a good time to edit, revise, and take stock of what we've created. We then go down to the last quarter, which is about letting go and integrating. In the natural world, the ocean tides lower, which signal a period of retreat. In the humans, we will notice a sense of detachment, reflection, or reassessment. And for creative wellness, it's a good time to declutter, let go of creative blocks, and finish unfinished projects. We then move down to the little crescent in the waning stage, which is a quiet phase. Animals rest more and the ocean becomes calm. For humans, a natural pull is towards stillness, solitude, and rest. And for creative wellness, it is a time to recharge, meditate, and prepare for the next cycle. It's an ideal time for deep introspection. So, like I said, if you're not currently tracking the moon cycle, I really encourage you to do it because it's incredible how your own cycle, especially as a woman on a 28-day cycle, will be in alignment with how the moon itself is cycling. And a wonderful thing to do is to sit at night under the moon, notice what stage of the cycle it's in, and just be with your thoughts. The moon is always there. Human beings have been looking at the moon for 35,000 years. You are a human being. So go and do that in the night sky tonight. I encourage you to do it as often as you can. So let's do an activity around tracking the moon cycle. Take a moment to sit in purposeful silence under the moon and notice where the moon is in its own cycle, and then check in with yourself and see how the energy of the moon is resonating within you and the world around you. So you can do that tonight. Go sit under the moon, notice the shape and where she's at in the cycle, and then come back to this module and read about it. Then you can journal. How you feel through each moon phase can help you identify patterns. Everything is a cycle. Plan your creative work accordingly. Plan around the new moon for brainstorming, your waxing moon for creating, the full moon for sharing, and the waning moon for refining. Sync your movement with lunar phases. You might notice that your movement practice and physical energy feels different at different lunar phases and honor rest cycles. Just like nature, your body has natural highs and lows, so learn to work with them rather than against them, and it can make your creative life flow more naturally. And then, as a woman, let's look at the female cycle and aligning your biological and creative fertility. So, the menstrual cycle is a natural internal rhythm that is cyclical, just like the yin yang cycle, the cycle of seasons in nature, and yes, the moon cycle. When we align with our cycle, we can optimize our creative flow rather than feeling frustrated by fluctuations in energy, focus, and emotions. It's a biological cycle that influences our energy, our intuition, and the ability to bring ideas into reality. And yes, it influences your creativity as well. By honoring these natural rhythms, we can optimize creativity rather than resisting the ebbs and flows of energy. Each phase of the menstrual cycle has a distinct fertility energy, which is both biological for reproduction and creative for inspiration, expression and refinement. So the menstrual cycle can be broken down into 4 distinct phases, which align beautifully with both the seasons of nature and the 4 stages of creative energy. You've got your menstrual phase, your follicular phase, your ovulatory phase, and the luteal phase. So let's have a look at each one of these phases as it relates to a season and which days of your cycle this will be occurring on. So number 1 is the menstrual phase, which can be the season of winter. This is about releasing, resting, and reflecting. This is day 1 to 5 of your cycle, and the first day of bleeding is day 1. Your energy will probably be at its lowest. This is a deeply yin time, and it is very inward focused. In terms of biology, you are not fertile. The uterus is shedding its lining. For your creative fertility, it is a death and rebirth phase. It's a time of clearing, resetting, and receiving new inspiration. So, at this time, some ideal creative actions may be journaling, deep self-reflection and visioning of new ideas, letting go of old projects that no longer serve, dreaming and allowing ideas to percolate, meditating or practicing slow creativity, which might include watercolor, poetry, or sound healing. Your connection to the moon at this point is the new moon, which is the dark, quiet phase of introspection. And a creative wellness tip for the menstrual cycle is rest. Forcing productivity in this phase can lead to burnout. This is the time for deep inner work and reflection. Then we move into the follicular phase, which is kind of like spring. This is all about new beginnings, growth, and fresh energy. This is day 6 to 14 of your cycle, and after the bleeding stops, it leads up to ovulation. Your energy is rising, and it's a rising yang energy, so it's fresh and inspired. In terms of biology, you have increased fertility, your estrogen is rising, and your body is preparing to ovulate. For your creative fertility, this is a great time for planting creative seeds. It's a time of new ideas, optimism, and experimentation. And your ideal creative actions in the follicular phase are brainstorming and planning creative projects, trying new skills, techniques, or artistic mediums, learning and researching new inspiration, engaging in playful, exploratory creativity. And your connection to the moon during the follicular phase is a waxing moon, which is energy and new ideas growing. A creative wellness tip for the follicular phase is using this time to start creative projects and set intentions, as you are in an inspired and open-minded phase. Then we move into ovulation or summer. This is your peak energy, your peak fertility, and your peak expression. This is days 14 to 21 of your cycle. Your energy is very yang. You're very extroverted, you're magnetic, and you're expressive. Biologically, you are in your most fertile phase during ovulation. One egg is released and can be fertilized. For your creative fertility, this is maximum creativity. Ovulation and creativity go hand in hand. This is the time to express, to perform, and to take action. Ideal creative actions might be painting murals or working on large-scale projects, sharing your work publicly, networking, teaching, and presenting creative ideas, group collaborations, and social creative work. Get yourself out there creatively during this time. Your connection to the moon is full moon energy. It's peak energy, it's clarity, and it's very outward expression. A creative wellness tip for the ovulation phase is using this time for outward creative expression and executing and sharing your work. Go out there and shine. Then the final stage is luteal, which is more like autumn or fall. This is about refining and organizing and turning inward. These are days 22 to 28 of your cycle. It comes directly after ovulation. Your energy is when your yang is declining. We're on a downturn here. We're moving towards an inward focus. In biology, if you haven't, an egg has not been fertilized during this phase, your hormone levels are going to drop and your body prepares to start the cycle again with menstruation. And in creative fertility, this is a great time to edit and refine. It's time for evaluating and perfecting your creative work. Some ideal creative actions might be editing, refining, finalizing, reviewing past work and making any adjustments, organizing a workspace, organizing your materials or your ideas. And it's more about solo creative time. It's less social and more introspective. Your connection to the moon is a waning energy. Again, this is a downward trend. Your energy turns inward and you are preparing for a rest cycle. Also, luteal can be a PMS phase, so be mindful of perfectionism and self-doubt and any other emotions that might pop in during that PMS time in the luteal phase. Channel it into refining rather than critiquing your work. So the moon cycle and the menstrual cycle are very interesting cycles to sync up with your creative practice as a woman. It's something that I really encourage you to start being mindful of and tracking in your journal. And journaling as you go through each of these stages is a really, really important thing to do because you can always come back and see where you're at in each cycle. And you're probably going to start seeing pattern recognition. You're probably going to see after a few months of like tracking these cycles and each stage of the cycle being like, oh, wow, during the ovulation stage, I'm tending to be like this. Wow, during the luteal phase, I'm kind of like this. Oh, in a full moon, I'm more like this. It's a great way to track your progress and understand more about yourself, your physical body, and your creative cycles. It's a wonderful tool for self-discovery and creating a life that is in tune with the cycles of the natural world and your physical body. So, to summarize this module, which is all about the physical body, don't ever forget that your body is your ultimate creative tool. Your creativity flows through your body, so take care of it. And always remember that self-care is not selfish. A human body has needs, and you need to take care of them. Don't forget to move your body. Walk in nature and observe the creations of Mother Earth. Walk in nature and realize that life truly is art. Be in flow with the Tao, understands the balance of cycles between yin and yang, and flow with those instead of forcing them. And remember that as a human being, you are part of nature. So learn to attune your body to nature's seasons and cycles.